So with the chipping, hopefully you can sort of see there we have that nice bit of silver on there. I have kept it to, you know, those sort of dirty areas where people, as I say, are getting in and out. I haven't really took the silver any more than in this sort of kind of area, but generally all over we have that light blue chipping. I mean, you know, against leading edges, I don't know how well you can see that, but there's that light blue chipping. It will just give that little bit of an interest. As I say, you can be a bit heavier with that blue color just because it's not so intense, but the silver is quite intense, so keep it to well weathered areas. So this is where I would put on now some sort of pigments here to create a bit of dirt, and that pigment also kind of like knocks back the silver, because the silver can be a bit in your face, that silver chipping. So putting weathering on top of that, you know, knocks it back a bit and makes it look cool. Now this time around I'm actually going to use some oils for this, right, just to show you kind of a different way of doing it and a nice easy way of doing it as well. First off, you know, always good to have like a little some sort of something to put this on, and what we're going to do, we're going to be using Episode.15, don't know if I pronounced that right, their wash brown, which is their ABT080, or any kind of I know Winsor & Newton does nice oils as well. Right, I'm just going to get a little bit out on our palette just here. Right, and then what we could do is, getting out a paintbrush, I'm going to use, where's it gone now? I'm going to use actually no, not the enamel odorless thinners, the odorless turpentine. This is by Episode. I do believe they've kind of stopped making this because I've had this for so long, but you know what, I mean, you can use the enamel odorless thinners actually by Ming. I know it says enamel, but you know, it seems to work just as good anyway. With this kind of stuff, right, you know, don't go off and make the mistake of buying, you know, spirits or turpentine from the DIY store. You know, they are seem to be quite a lot stronger, and when they're like that, they can eat into your paintwork. So just getting a little bit of this, I've kind of like, I'm thinning this on my paintbrush, as I tend to do, right, and we're just getting this now, and what we're going to do is just kind of dab this sort of all around the area. Right, we don't have to worry too much. Right, it's almost a little bit like using oils in a fading sense, right, but I've got a nice technique that makes it easy. Right, so we've kind of dabbed that on. Right, and what we can sort of do is we can sort of come straight in. I'm going to come straight in with like a flat brush. I like using a flat brush for this kind of stuff. Dip it into thinners, right, but I do like to kind of dab it on a kitchen paper towel just to make sure that it's not soaking. We don't want this pooling all over the place, right, and what we do is we just dab this down. Right, as you can see, I'm just dabbing it, and it kind of just moves it around and feathers it in, just like so. But it's going to look a little bit pants at first. Right, so you got that sort of dabbed in. I like to go out a little bit further than I want, sort of at the end, so it kind of, hopefully as you can see, it's sort of like the colours are a bit more intense here. But if I dab outwards without any sort of, with just what's on the paintbrush, right, you don't really see it so much, but it kind of feathers it that way. And as you can see, not looking all that good, right, not really well feathered in or anything like that. But what we want to do, let that go now, sort of bone dry, about half an hour down the line. I don't mean bone dry as in you want it to cure, don't leave it overnight, just half an hour down the line. You know, it's got to look and be nice and dry for the next bit. So to make this quite easy when it comes to using oils, I mean, hopefully you can see here that, you know, it's a little bit on the messy side, right? And, you know, yes, we can sort of like get out the thinners and we can dab this down and kind of go a bit pro about it, but nice easy tip to blend this in easier. We've let it dry, come along with, you know, a nice big sort of very sort of fine sort of bristle kind of brush, right, but make sure it's dry. Everything needs to be dry, the brush needs to be dry, the surface needs to be dry, and all we need to do, oh, almost dropping it there, all we need to do, if I can just get this nicely on camera, is just start to brush at it. right? And what we do is we just sort of feather it out, a light little brushing, just like that, no real big brushing, right? And hopefully you can see how it sort of just nicely feathers in. There you go, there's a better angle, right? You can see how all that sort of unneatness has gone away, it's feathered it in, right, making it look nice and cool. It kind of gives you a different aspect on using, say, pigments. Pigments, they are good, but they are sort of unpredictable in a sense. Well, not quite unpredictable, you need quite a bit of experience. Pigments, you know, one, they are very messy, and two, it's like you can put pigments down and it can look absolutely beautiful, but you go off and put a matte coat on top and it's as if it's sort of can change color. It also kind of like disappears a lot. I mean, you can literally lose like 50 to 80% of the pigments just seem to disappear when you put a matte coat on them. So you do need a bit of experience to know to kind of, you know, how the different colors work and what colors they could change to and how much of it's going to disappear. So you're going to be like, oh, I need to do this more intense than I want it. But with oils, you know, as you can see, quite easy, and we do get that nice sort of a look to it, right? As I say, you know, you can sort of intensify that as much as you want, or light you want. I'm kind of going, as you can see, hopefully on both sides, we've got that nice bit of dirt going on there, which again, you know, does sort of nicely go over our pigments a bit and sort of knocks them back as well. So let's move along with some more weathering.